Richards trying to scoot in there alone. It pinballs to the crease.
Let's get it.
Oh my God! Here we go.
You're listening to the Pod Street Bullies podcast with your hosts, Derek.
How you gonna get it, Bobby?
John. Matt Casey.
Unnecessary, but totally necessary.
And Cody.
What's not to love?
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to the Pod Street Bullies, the John Govelis Pod Street Bullies this week.
I can't even say it right.
It's John Govid.
John Govid.
How happy are
John? I feel for him, but I'm pretty happy.
you? I was going to say, Hoagie's probably the happiest out of all of us. Let's be honest.
Can't wait.
In honor of Mental Health Awareness Week, Hoagie doesn't have to deal with John. So
Yeah, pretty much.
There's your gift from us, buddy. No, regardless, we hope John's feeling better. Obviously, I'll be the nice guy and not be a complete a-hole like he is when I'm not on. But we do have a lot of exciting stuff to talk about now that the season is kicking off this coming Thursday. First game Thursday night against the Devils. Rejoice. Get ready for a season full of just shame and bad hockey.
do you guys feel like I don't know? I feel like I'm going into Hell Weekend in like pledging. Like that.
Yeah.
That like I know it's gonna suck, but I know we have to get through it.
Yeah,
Do you know I was in a fraternity too?
Were you?
Yeah, I ate a pie.
I like it.
It's too early.
it.
It's too early for that crap.
No, I had a reporter I used to work with that said that to one of the girls at the station who was in a sorority, and she did not take kindly to that.
You can't be doing that. Not in this
No.
day and age.
Sorry, bro. But anyways, what we want to do here tonight, we're going to break down the roster, the decisions that were made, the paper moves that came along with it, talk about a couple cams that aren't in the lineup, as well as some optimism surrounding Sean Couturier and what's going on with that. But first off, we want to speak on the roster being finalized as of yesterday. They were submitted. We have a finalized roster that Hoagie was nice enough to put together for us here.
I didn't do it for our banners or anything. Someone wasn't listening.
Pay cut. Just to basically go through it real quick, in terms of how they're listed, the right wingers that made the roster, we've got Wade Allison, Cam Atkinson, Hayden Hodgson, Travis Konechny, and Owen Tippett. Left wingers, Noah Cates, Nick Delorier, Joel Farabee, James Van Riemsdyk. Centers, Morgan Frost, Kevin Hayes, Tanner Lashinsky, Scott Lawton. 8 defensemen, Adder, Braun, D'Angelo, Provorov, Ristolainen, Sanheim, Sealer, and Zamula. And last but probably least, Carter Hart and Sam Erson as our goalies.
Yep.
I see. Let's start from the back and go up. Let's start positive. I think.
Like
You
hyenas.
think?
I'll go positive with it. Like, hey, Carter Hart's actually looking like he's gonna play. Like, you know what?
Cool.
Optimism.
Yeah.
I know we like to think the
Yay.
freaking sky is falling and we're on the verge of nuclear war. Oh wait,
It's a foreign concept, really. Optimism as a Flyers fan.
right. But that's good news. I'm a little nervous he didn't play a game.
Yeah.
But hey, at least it's Jersey. And
Might
not
be a
Florida or Tampa Bay.
little rusty, but
Yeah, we just had Florida and Tampa Bay the next week. Whoa.
yeah, no biggie. Not a big deal at all. But I think you're right. I think it's good to see that Carter Hart's healthy, or hopefully healthy and ready to go for Thursday night against the Devils. If I'm not mistaken, historically, he's actually been pretty good against Jersey. So I'm hoping that trend continues. If that is the trend, if it's not the trend, then I hope he can break it,
Right.
But not so much confidence in Erson. As the backup, he played well in preseason. Great. I'm happy for him, but regular season's a totally different beast here. And it's going to be We'll see how much time he actually does get, depending on how Sandstrom's feeling, how that's progressing along with his injury. But we're being optimistic, Hoagie. What do you think, man?
No, I mean, I'm excited for Carter Hart. I was a little weary of him actually starting. With him not getting any preseason time, I was getting really worried about it. I don't think Erson's going to be up here very long. I think Sandstrom's going to be like a week or two, and he'll be ready to go. I think Erson will be right back in the AHL, hopefully tearing it up and kind of proving that he's ready for that NHL. But I definitely don't think he's going to get a big mainstay up here in the big club.
When's our first back-to-back, Hoagie? Do you have the schedule up there?
I do. Our first back-to-back is Saturday, October 22nd, and October 23rd. Nashville, San Jose.
So, I mean, like you have to think that's going to be, that's a backup game there. So
actually, excuse me, it's actually next week, Tampa Bay, Florida, Tuesday, Wednesday.
The gauntlet. Jesus.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Right off the bat.
Back where Hart gets hurt? Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, realistically thinking, they've got to start whoever the backup is for one of those games, right?
They have to. They absolutely have to.
Yeah. No reason to keep Carter Hart in the net for both of those games. Absolutely not.
If they do, he's going to be hurt in 3 months.
If they do, it's malpractice. Let's be honest.
That doesn't sound like us.
No, never. Ever.
Who's Ryan Ellis again?
How many herniated discs are there? But I mean, we're trying to be optimistic here. It's good to see that some of these guys are progressing along with their injuries. I'm happy to see Wade Allison made it. I'm happy to see Morgan Frost made it. Happy to see Lashinsky make it. Awesome. Not so happy at the fact that those are the types of guys that made it, considering the lack of talent that this team has, considering the fact that we're very thin at center. Those types of blunders, if you will, gave them the opportunity to make it, which I'm glad they have it. I'm glad they're there. I'm glad they're up with the team, but I don't know, man. It just kind of stokes the flames when it comes to the just overall disappointment surrounding this team.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it, guys, and I think we're going just as a whole. And I don't not like the players on, within the lineup. It's just still so obvious that with Coots out, with Atkinson likely out, which is we'll get into in a minute. If those are arguably our top two forwards, I would throw that pretty safely in there. When healthy, those are our top two guys. And that's not even that great. And with those guys out, this is looking like this is a solid middle six possibly, but realistically, everybody knows we're missing that top end talent, and even with a full roster, we're still missing that top end talent. But I don't dislike any of the players on here. Sans, a couple of them, but overall, you're looking at veterans who have to return to form of their prime, and young guys who are going to have to play their asses off and really show that they're heading into their prime. And that's a lot of question marks.
I mean, I'm looking at this roster right now, just completely unimpressed. I'm trying to construct lines. I'm trying to figure out who's going to be where. And it really is depleted of any real top end talent. You can't even really make an argument for a guy like Kevin Hayes. You can't make and he right now, I mean, maybe aside from a healthy Joel Farabee, might be the best player in this lineup right now. If we're not, it's very, very sad.
It's sad, but look, I'll go back to coming back to form. Konechny at his best is a pretty damn good player. Now we haven't seen him at his best, in this decade.
We talked about it last week,
2020s. But Konechny is a good player. Frost, we're still debating it. Do you want to go through the projected line, the actual projected lines that they were going through one by one here?
Yeah, Hoagie, do you want to do it, or you want me to here?
Yeah, we can run it down. You want to go one through four?
Let's do it.
Just start with the first one, and let's just rip it apart.
You got Longman and Konechny on the wings, centered by Hayes. which I mean we've had that experiment back in the AV years. It was like a Bash Bros type of line. I liked it, but I don't. That's not a number one line.
Right. It's a good line. It's a good line if it's your second line. I don't think that's a good first line. And
it's a great third line.
Right. It's an elite line. It's their third line. I think it's good to see Lawton up there, though. I mean, at the very least, it's going to be a hard-working line, and each one of those guys brings something a little different. So I like that.
Yeah, it gives you all the aspects. You got Lawton kind of forechecking his ass off. You got Hayes that can pass and kind of protect the puck.
And shield the puck, yeah.
And then you got Konechny, who has that shot, but we haven't seen that shot in quite some time. So I'm hoping it kind of generates something.
You have in Konechny is he's like, you remember those like water weenies when you were a kid? It was like a balloon. Like a water balloon, and it would like sift through your
the
fingers.
The way that you're making your hand motions right now, I'm just
like he's like one of those guys. He's just slippery as crap, and I feel like he like goes under people's legs and like shoves pucks in the goal. Like I don't think he's a one trick pony with the shot. Like he's just he's obnoxious, and I think this is where I hope like the personality of the team, at least early on, comes through. Like. With Hayes, and I don't know if you guys feel the same way. Like Hayes is like, oh, he's like the locker room guy. Go for it. Like every interview with Kevin Hayes, he looks so miserable. Like ever since he started, he's like, yeah, and you're like,
it's that Dorchester accent. It's miserable. It makes me want to bash my head.
With those guys, and then with Lawton, trying to hoard votes for captaincy, I think that could be like a personality line. Which again, we're not claiming that this is a good first line, but like this could be a line that actually like shows the personality that Tortorella wants the Flyers to be. And, I think at least for the short term, I'm interested in seeing it.
Has Hoagie found out a way to send in like a mail-in ballot to vote for captain for the Flyers yet?
I'm working on it. Don't worry.
like Andy Dufresne and Shawshank Redemption, you're going to write one letter a week to Chuck.
Dear John and Chuck.
Well, I'm really encouraged, and I know we spoke about it at length over the offseason in regards to who we think is going to thrive and who we think is going to die. It was like a 4-episode series. So, I mean, we discussed it at length. But you've really seen reports coming out of camp and coming out of the practices where Tortorella has really been harping on Konechny specifically, stopping drills, meeting with him and Brad Shaw as well, talking to Konechny. So, I don't want to necessarily view it as maybe their like pet project, but I think they're paying a little extra attention to Konechny because they know, like what Matt Casey said, it's there. The talent's there. And if he can build on that and he can do a good job of kind of reaching that next level, getting back to where he was 3 years ago and just excelling, we have a pretty damn good player on our hands. Great player, I don't know, but pretty damn good. So I will be very interested to see how he brings that to the table when the regular season starts on Thursday. If he can, show us that motor, show us that snarl, show us that just affinity for being able to make things happen in areas that some people can't, like Matt alluded to as well, chipping those pucks in, just getting a stick in there somehow. And the shot, he's got a good shot. Like there's no doubt about it. It's just being able to utilize that shot in the right areas and the right times.
Sorry, go ahead, Ogie.
I think we're going to see a different Konechny because during the offseason, there's been reports of him sitting down with Briere and watching game tape and watching things like that. And he's even come out and said, like, after he shoots the puck, he doesn't know what to do after he shoots that puck. He usually just shoots it and then curls away from the play. I think now he's on take the shot and follow up with that shot. Hopefully it comes back to him or something. I think we're going to see a different type of Konechny this year just based on those reports.
I think one of the other things that we haven't touched on, which I've always felt makes Konechny a really effective player, is when he does get chippy and when he does get other teams' best players off their game. And, I think that's when Konechny's at his best, as long as it's a controlled what do you call it? Controlled chippiness or a controlled like, obnoxiousness, and I think once it gets out of control, then it becomes an issue and a liability. But I think that's where, he can really just irk the hell out of people and really frustrate some folks. And he's quick. And, I don't know. Overall, I like the line. I like the makeup of that line. I just wish that was our second line.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, in an ideal world, it could be. Because, I mean, Couturier, when he comes back, he'll likely be on that top line. It'll probably be Atkinson. Exactly.
Yep.
And then insert name here. I'd like to see Joel Farabee on the top line. But
Right.
That's, that was one more thing, too. I know I might be skipping things here, but with those line rushes, they had Farabee on the third line.
Mm-hmm.
Am I the only one here that looks at that and says, what?
I have a theory. I just think I think they're trying to control his minutes. Coming back.
Yeah.
Coming off injury, I think.
He hasn't played a game. He hasn't had contact. Like, they need to be able to control it. And like, with our luck, he's going to get 3 shifts and be like, yeah, something's up with my neck. So I think that's the only reason. You hit on something before, and if with a full roster with Couturier, Atkinson, and Farabee, although are Farabee and Atkinson, are they both left wingers, both right wingers, or one or the other? I don't know.
Atkinson's a right winger, Farabee's a left winger, according to the roster that was put out.
That's a solid line. It just scares the hell out of me that it's like, okay, who gets the handicap sticker this week? There's only so much parking in the players' parking lot to go around. But like, theoretically, I like that line as a first line for now.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad first line. I think that we're gonna struggle. Like, we're gonna struggle to score goals no matter what, because we don't have the talent like we used to. We don't have the Girouxs, we don't have the Voraceks. Bash on Voracek all you want. The guy made goals happen, as noted by the amount of assists that man put up. So there's not that one guy you can turn to like a Giroux when you need a big goal, when you need a goal for that matter. So someone's got to step up into that role, and it could be Konechny, it could be Farabee, depending on how he's being sheltered with his minutes first right off the bat there. But I mean, Hoagie, keep going down the line rushes here. What else do we have?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, second line. This line is just disgusting. It just makes me want to puke. JVR on the left wing, Allison on the right wing, centered by Frost. I just don't know.
That's my main gripe, is that I understand Casey's point to making sure you can manage Farabee's minutes, but at the expense of putting James Van Riemsdyk on the second line. Like, okay, James Van Riemsdyk can score goals at meaningless points in the game. Does that
in games 80 through 82 he does?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
83.
Like, I'm not here to rag on JVR. I do think he's a quality player, but man, like, what's he done to stay up on that in the top in a top 6 role?
I'll tell you what he's done. He's stayed healthy. Like, that is all he's done.
Pretty much.
Like, it is a process of elimination, and I don't like. If they were to switch Farabee and JVR, so sorry, the third line, if we'll jump ahead just so people know what we're talking about for all of our loyal listeners and watchers. The third line is Farabee, Noah Cates, and Tippett, and which I don't think is bad, but I think if you were to switch Farabee with Van Riemsdyk on there, I'd be excited about that Frost, Allison, Farabee line. I think that would give me something to dig into. That Cates, Tippett, Van Riemsdyk. Sorry, did I say Farabee, Frost, Allison? Is that what I just said?
Farabee, Frost, Allison.
What day is it? So then that would leave Van Riemsdyk, Cates, and Tippett, which is a pretty subpar third line. But theoretically, if we have Atkinson and Coots come back, then all of a sudden we can at least flush one or two of those guys out of there. So he stayed healthy. Like, that's all it is. And I'm hoping that he just buys into the system and gets his butt in front of the net and tips a couple pucks here and there. Like, that's the best we can hope for right now. But I agree, that second line is freaking garbage. Unless Frost and Allison, 2/3 of the fire and ice line that I'm preaching, can get ridiculous chemistry and make something happen. But
I think
Go
that's
ahead,
the only
Ogie.
way. I think that's the only way it can work is
Right.
Frost and Allison
Mhm.
creating the chemistry and just parking JVR's butt in front of the net because he'll take up the space to give them ample time to take shots as long as they're creating the space for themselves.
Right.
Which Frost isn't pretty good at making that space for himself. He doesn't like to pretty much do that. He likes to kind of dish it off in ways. So
Mhm.
it's just a tough line to look at. And I do want to say this in regards to these lines. Couturier has even come out and said that they're not going to know what lines are going to be like for the first 10 games.
Yeah,
Right? Like,
and that's fair.
yeah. I mean,
Yep.
take this for what it's worth, but I think this is what we're running with on Thursday against the Devils.
I think before we get into the fourth line, or actually before we get into the third line even more, but I do like the fact that, like, I think if we had penciled in this, we probably would have been like, all right, like, we would have gone top heavy on like the first line, and it still
Sure.
wouldn't have been good.
Right.
I kind of like the fact that they're at least trying to spread it a little bit. It's like, all right, let's be
Mhm.
kind of bad on all the lines instead of like really bad on 2 of the 3 of the top. You know,
I think the bigger problem that they have right now is, and we'll kind of get into the fourth line here, is that the players that are on this roster, there aren't many, if any at all, that fit a true fourth line, like checking gritty role on this team. Like the guys that are on there right now, you've got Delorier, Lashinsky, and Hodgson. Like they're meant to play that type of role. And you could argue Lashinsky would be better suited for maybe third line, but Noah Cates is on the third line. And maybe they're interchangeable, whatever. I don't think so. I think Noah Cates has a bit more skill to his game. But like, are you going to put Owen Tippett on the fourth line? Are you going to put Wade Allison? Maybe Wade Allison. I wouldn't want to, personally. Maybe. I think that there's a bit
I don't like him
more-
there, but like he could do it, and I think he
Sure. He can play that type of role. But like other than that, there's not a lot of guys that fit the mold of a fourth liner on this team. But the problem with that is they also don't fit a first or second line role. Like we have a plethora of third line guys. And
5 and 6 dwellers.
yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I think the guy you want on the fourth line, and the really sad part, he's on our first line, which is Lawton. Like I think Lawton would be an all-star fourth line center or a fourth line winger, like whatever you want, like, and he would be happy doing it. But
Agreed.
that's not where he's needed right now.
I think you pay him too much to be on the fourth line, to be honest.
We pay everybody too much. That's why we're
That's why we have no cap.
Yeah.
You could argue, though, that quality fourth liners should be paid well enough. I'm not going to sit here and say they should be making $4 or $5 million, but like, what's he making? 3?
He's
Like-
making 3. Yeah.
Is it a little pricey? Sure.
Does
But
he have a no move clause? Because that
does
is the
not.
mandate in our fourth line.
yeah, well, I get that's why he's
Except
playing
for
on the first line.
Lisinski
then.
and Hodgson.
No, it's the lineup as constructed right now, according to the line rushes that Jordan Hall tweeted out earlier today. It's ugly. No two ways around it. If that's what we see Thursday night, I'm gonna have to run out and get more beer.
It's going to be what we see. Like realistically, like that is what we are going to start with. And unfortunately, we weren't able to use the preseason to solidify lines or create chemistry. It's going to be building the plane while it's flying, and
Right.
and that works.
Yeah, that works really well.
I mean, it also goes into play where Couturier wants to see which lines work together best in his system as well. They're still learning his systems throughout this last week of camp or what have you. So I mean, during the preseason games, you're not really we didn't really have solidified lines, NHL caliber lines
Sure.
really help with those systems. So I think we're going to be seeing a lot of different things. We'll probably see a lot of different lines during games, to be honest, from period to period.
Right.
So like, it's just going to be a.
I'm
Casey,
just-
you said Hell Week. I had a buddy text me the other day. Are you guys excited for hockey to start? And I said, I don't want to talk to you.
no, like
Like no.
Piss off.
Simple answer: no.
we need to get through something really unpleasant to get to something better, which will be on
Isn't even
April
that pleasant.
13th, or something like that. The one thing, I lost my train of thought. Proceed.
Yeah, I think it's a good chance to hop into the blue line as well, because we spoke a little bit about it before the show as well in terms of what our first pairing, what our second pairing is looking like, and I think we're all in agreement that you're looking at the top pair of Provorov and D'Angelo, second pairing of Ristolainen and Sanheim, and then the third pairing, absolutely Justin Braun, and then there's three options here. We know what option number one will likely be when it comes to opening night, but there are, I don't want to necessarily say caveats, but I do think that that last number 6 defenseman role is kind of up for grabs at this point. And
100%.
Yeah. And I want to get Hoagie's opinion on this here first, but we'll kind of do like a roundtable discussion when it comes to this.
I don't know, to be honest.
Well said.
I thought there was going to be a question. Sorry.
It was a question. What are your thoughts? Where's John when you need him?
Yeah, exactly. We'll do that tomorrow night if he's good for the prospects. But no, this bottom pair of defense is just something brutal between Sealer, Simula, and Adder. I feel like we know what we have with Sealer. He's a tough, nitty gritty guy. Great, awesome. Zamula, I don't think he fits. I really don't. I think he's better suited off in the AHL for now. It's amazing that he even made the opening night roster or just the roster in general. Addard's a tricky one. It sounds like Tortorella really likes Addard, and
I don't see it.
I don't see it either.
I don't see it. And I'm pretty good at seeing talent.
Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, I think it was that scrum that Addard had that he stuck up for somebody or
you mean
himself
when he got
whoever.
mugged by Ross Johnston?
I think that's the only way that he kind of made a name for himself. You know, Tortorella said like, yeah, these guys are fighting for spots. They're taking tussles. They're having fights in preseason games. That's what I like to see. So I think that's the only way he kind of made it. I don't know who I'd like to see start on that last spot, to be honest.
I'll tell you what, I want to go back to the Addard point here because it concerns me more than it encourages me, because Addard, according to prior seasons where he was, with in the leagues that he was before the NHL, was not that type of guy. He was not a physical, I'm going to beat the hell out of you, I'm going to stick up for my team. Like, he was not that guy. It's like that gift. Like, you're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy.
That's because he was a different type of guy. He had a different role.
Yeah, and I think
he was the guy to produce on those teams.
Exactly. So the thing is, though, are we trying to put a square peg in a round hole with that? Are we trying to make Addard into a quintessential third pairing defenseman that is going to, drop the mitts if need be, is going to be tough? Like, he's going to be that type of person. I don't like that. I don't think that you do that with somebody, especially at a young age like that. Like, you want to play to his strengths. And at this point, though, third pairing isn't a position to put him in to succeed. And you're not going to put him on the top line. Or the top pairing with Provorov or D'Angelo for that matter. Second pairing set, that was probably our most consistent line last year with Ristolainen and Sanheim. So you're left kind of in a bit of a pickle when it comes to that. So I think it's Sealer personally, just because exactly what Hoagie said. You know what you've got with him. He's not great. He's not flashy. He's all right. And for this team, all right is good enough.
All right is all right. All right.
He's a nice taupe color that is, it's soothing to the eyes. It's not going to insult your eyelids, but I think I don't mind the idea of starting with Sealer. If you break it down, realistically, those top two pairings of defense are going to play, what do you want to say, 46 minutes a night is my bet.
Yep.
So that leaves 12 to 13 minutes for that third pair, which is what, 3 or 4 shifts a period, just give me 3 or 4 shifts a period of not effing up. Right. And I will accept that and let those
give me the bare minimum.
and then eat up penalty kill, eat up on the man down. I think that's where get them in there. And if that's where they get a bunch of their minutes, then so be it. But that's not going to, Sealer, he's not the solution. You know, a lot of hubbub has been made about Torts saying he wants to play the young guys and sending York down. You know, I think you're going to
Totally
see
fair in my opinion.
Agreed.
Throwing that out there.
And you're going to see Sealer, Zamula, Adder, York. I bet is back up here. Like, is there anybody else? I mean, that's, you know, those are 4 guys that are rolling with it. I mean, did Connaughton clear waivers? Do we even care?
Yeah.
You know, but that's another guy you can throw in there if you need to, who has NHL time. So, you know, you have plenty of people that can fill that 1/3 pairing role. And I think what Sealer does is just buy time until one of those guys proves that they are ready to actually do it full time.
Yeah. He's a stopgap. He's going to be there until a Cam York, Ronnie Attard, somebody comes in and proves that they can stick at the NHL level, which fine by me. I like the fact that they sent Cam York down because if they don't think he's going to succeed in the NHL in limited minutes, get him an expanded role with Lehigh Valley. Put him in an opportunity to get some power play minutes, play top pairing minutes, like test the durability, make sure he's good. I like that move. The people that gripe about it, like I somewhat see because they're going to cling to Chuck Fletcher and John Tortorella saying, "Let's play the kid."
He said this. If you quote like January 20th, 2022, he said aggressive retool.
I get the gripe. I can see it from that perspective, but at the same rate, it's like if he didn't earn it, which he clearly didn't, because we saw him get burnt by. Was it Casey Cizikas?
Right.
That's a 4th line guy right there. Like
good 4th liner.
Very good 4th liner. Yes. Like I'm not going to rag on the guy. He's a very good 4th liner, but he's a 4th liner nonetheless. And that's what you're going to see at the NHL level. And if he can't hang with that right now, he's not ready. Let him cook a little bit.
Power play too. Mind you.
It was on the power play. It was shorthanded for New York. So right then and there, that's the final nail in the coffin for me. Give him some time, get better. You got plenty of time. You're a kid. You're still young. I have no qualms with it.
And not to be a prick, he's not vital to the success of this team right now. And Tortorella, I'm paraphrasing, but Tortorella basically said as much. He's like, we're not ready. You know, we need them ready when we're ready to actually be a competitive team. I'd be interested to see if did Zamula and Adder get sent down today, or am I making that
as
up?
A paper move? Yeah. They had to account for Ellis's long-term injured reserve hit there on the salary. So
do they actually have to travel to Lehigh Valley? I mean, I know it's that far, but like, do they have to go and like tag in and then punch the clock?
Video. You need to punch the clock just to prove that you were there.
I thought there was something. Maybe they've changed it, but I thought there was something like years ago where like before we were back in Lehigh and before we were back in Philly, weren't we upstate?
We were
Adirondack.
Adirondack.
Yep. Adirondack. Like, I feel like somebody had to like drive up to Adirondack for a paper move to cut just to tag and come back because they had to like make it. It's like
if that were the case, I'd love to see the mileage on Justin Bailey's vehicle when he was with us a couple years back. Oh boy.
I don't know. I'm interested to see if one of those guys can step up because if there's only so many times that a role like that for young 20-somethings are going to be up and ready to go. So I don't know. If one of them can step up and prove it, all for it. If not, then Sealer.
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, then, the only other thing to really go over is the goalies. We have Carter Hart. We have Sam Ersson up there. Let's play some hypotheticals here. Let's say that back-to-back comes over. They're playing Florida and Tampa. Ersson gets one of those games, and he doesn't do that bad. He hangs in there with one of the better teams because both of them are going to be probably 2 of the top teams in the NHL this year. Holds his own. I'm not saying that he's, posting a shutout or only letting up 1 goal on 40 shots, but like, let's say something, you're letting up 4 goals on 38 shots, something like that. Under a 0.9 save percentage, goals against isn't great. But, I mean, you faced nearly 40 shots, let up 4 goals against one of the best teams in your NHL debut. Is it worth maybe keeping him around and seeing how he does with a bit more playing time, maybe seeing some lesser opponents? What are your guys' thoughts? I'll go to you first, Casey.
I think it all depends on the circumstances of the goals, if I'm being honest with you. If he's letting in beach balls, then it's like, out of here. We'll go get Grossnick back from the Safeway, and but if he's making plays and challenging, and it's like we run into a buzzsaw like we did in Boston a couple of years ago, where they just lit up Hart for 6 goals or whatever it was. Like, I think that's something different, but I think it just all depends on how comfortable he looks and how he's actually playing. I'm of the opinion, and I would like to think that this is the way it goes. It's like, hey, Urson stayed healthy. He's getting his shot. It's his to lose at this point. If he doesn't show enough and Sandstrom comes in, okay, then it's his to lose. So, a battle for backup, I'm not overly concerned about until the point where inevitably Hart goes down with, a torn or a strained whatever for 3 weeks, and then we're like
sprained finger from picking the guitar.
Right. Took the nail from chipping too hard. Yeah.
Right.
Oh boy.
It'd be like the Mighty Ducks, where some guy just rips a slap shot and you just see an imprint of a puck on his hand. He painted it on. He's like, guys, look.
Gunnar Stahl.
Gunther. Oh boy. I mean, what do you think, Hoagie?
Oh, I missed the entire question. I was actually looking something up to bring up next.
Hell.
All right, you want to work on the side? Like, what were you doing?
I was looking up power play lines because I want to get your thoughts on those.
Okay. All right, so like before we go into it, like I just had this dream in my head where, like, for the last 5 days, like we've just had like a training montage where the Flyers have all of a sudden become a team and learned the system, and it's like, Rocky in the barn and Rocky 4 and running up mountains and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, like, we're going to come out a chiseled team.
Oh my God.
It's my wishful thinking, but guess not.
That's not even wishful thinking, man. That's a
pipe dream. Yep.
All right. The question was, if Urson comes out, gets one of the back-to-back games against 2 of the premier teams in the NHL, plays well enough, not, fantastic, but, definitely capable and competent of a backup in that role, are you giving him an extended look even if Sandstrom's healthy?
Yeah, absolutely. If he can play against the top-tier talent in the league, no reason to throw him back down. I mean, that's me. That's my view, but I know they're just not tossing back down because he's still young and they'd rather see Sandstrom get some more NHL minutes to kind of sweeten his pot, because I don't think Sandstrom's going to be here in the system for much longer as well. So,
Sure. Okay, no, that's fair. Then moving on here real quick, we get to let's be honest, we did talk about the Cam thing. Aside from Cam Atkinson, like Cam York, we touched on a little bit. Yeah. He's down with Lehigh Valley. Cam Atkinson is still hurt. Let's start with Cam Atkinson here, and I'll go to you first, Hoagie. Where's your confidence level in Cam Atkinson being healthy anytime soon, being able to come in and play the role that he's meant to play here on this team?
Well, I mean, I don't want to read too much into it, but Tortorella keeps saying that he's going to be ready for opening night.
Okay.
And I don't want him to be ready for opening night because I feel like it's just one of those, we're rushing him back and he's going to get hurt in game 2 or 3 and he'll become a Ryan Ellis-esque type of injury. And he's supposedly our number 1 scoring winger technically, but you can't have somebody like Atkinson go down for a year. So I'd rather him kind of nurse it a little bit more and not make that opening night roster and just chill by the wayside for a little bit.
Okay. What about you, Matt Casey?
There's 0% he's playing Thursday. There is no way he's playing Thursday.
Source?
Trust me. Source? Trust me.
Just, I put the magic 8 ball in and, that's what's spit out. But no, yeah. He hasn't practiced with the team. He hasn't, he's been flying to Columbus ideally or presumptively to see a specialist that he is comfortable with.
What's that say about our staff?
Right. No, it's a fair point. That crack team at Penn Medicine has really done us wonders over the last 2 years. But there's no way. I don't know why they would put him in that position to play on Thursday night. I think they ran into it with Ellis. There's no way that they should do it again. If they do and he's healthy, hey, maybe it was just something else, but like the fact that he didn't play in a single preseason game, hasn't practiced. To my knowledge, he hasn't practiced this week. Is that right?
I don't think he has. Yeah,
I believe you're right.
There's no way he's playing.
Right.
And so I don't know. I until I actually see him on the ice, then I'm not counting on Atkinson at all.
There's no good way to bring this up because there's really just no great segue. Yeah, somebody's trying.
Are you at Race Wars? Where are you?
Yeah, I'm down at the strip here. They're drag racing. But
throw me an 8-second car.
I want I don't care who it is. I want somebody, like, if a flyer goes down and is being kind of a weenie with it, I want someone to insult them and just say, go to Chop because you're being a baby.
Wow.
I think that'd be hilarious. I don't know, just completely out of left field. Like, go to Chop because you're being a little baby. That'd be funny. Chop's a great hospital, by the way. Just throwing that out there. So maybe that's a solution. I don't know.
Could be better than we have. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. No. So we touched on Cam York a little bit too. Is there anything that we want to add to that discussion? I mean, it's a big discussion because him being sent back down, being ready, whatever it might be. But is there anything to elaborate on after what we've already said?
Just curious to see how he responds.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
That's the key. Like, he has the physical tools. Let's see how he mentally responds to not making a team for probably the first time in his life.
Yep.
I think he's going to do fine.
I hope so. I do too.
I think he's that type of player that takes that criticism and turns it into productivity.
Right.
I like it. I like that mindset. I am of the same mindset. I'm hoping that he can turn that into a positive.
I would sulk like a baby. I would sit there and cry in the locker room.
Yep.
Call my parents. I'd be like Henry Winkler in The Water Boy. I hate him. Stomp my heel.
Mom, can you call the coach? He's not being really nice.
He told me that I was going to go play for the Bears. Oh, boy. So, again, we alluded to it here at the beginning of the episode. We want to touch on the Couturier situation as well. All things looking somewhat encouraging because we're ahead of schedule, it looks like, with his recovery. Still not going to make it for the season opener here. But if we're going to try to be optimistic, let's put on our orange shades and call ourselves a different organization here.
The Ducks.
Not that type of organization, but we're not going to get into it. I don't even know. I mean, Matt Casey, are you at all optimistic, and can you spin this to have a positive outlook on this situation?
I'll go a couple optimistic elements on this. Number one is Farabee made it back, which I don't think can be understated. Like, he's like multiple weeks ahead of his timetable, which scares me, but at the same time is encouraging.
Isn't it like a month and a half?
Yeah. I mean, I think
like
they were
Thanksgiving,
saying
I think.
Yeah. So like that's good news. We have been starving for good news, and as Flyers fans, we're like, oh, it's all bad news. All bad stuff. Like, shut up, babies. And
go to Chop. Go to Chop.
But with that said, yeah, there has been a series of bad luck, and it's good to see Farabee come back. Now, the reports that we're referring to is that Couturier has been skated for 45 minutes or so the other day. It was alone. That's a far away from doing contact drills and all that sort of stuff. But the fact that he is skating off of what is perceived to be a disc back injury, which, my wife had just like a slip disc that's like pinching the nerve, and still to this day she has to go to a chiropractor and stuff. But like, she was walking around like an old lady. I mean, this was like 10 years ago. Like, if it's anything like that, like, it is debilitating, but it is treatable. And these guys are theoretically getting the best treatment out there, but I don't know.
So they say.
So look, is it encouraging? Yes. I don't want them to rush it back, but like, hurry back, Coots. We need you in a big way. And then tell Cam who your doctor is.
Yeah. Your thoughts on that, Hoagie?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not reading too much into it. I just, like Casey said, it was just bad news after bad news after bad news. And even with the good news, everybody still wants to tear down the good news and just create it bad somehow. Like, oh, he's rushing it. He's doing this. He's doing that. We shouldn't be doing that. I'm in the mindset we're not going anywhere fast this season. So just take your time. Come back. If it's December, it's December. I don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want a healthy Coots because it's the first year of his contract, and it's a big contract, man. Like, I can't have that contract bite us in the ass in the first year.
Yeah.
So
At what point do you shut him down? Like, let's say things go completely sideways and it's
Christmas.
January. It's January. Do you shut him down by Christmas, by New Year's, by All-Star? Like,
Christmas. If Mac Hoagie brought it up, and it was perfect point. 8 years. There's 8 years to this contract. This team is not supposed to make the playoffs or make any type of push towards a playoff spot this year. Save it. If he's got to take the entire year off, pull Ryan Ellis minus the fact that we'll likely see Couturier again on the ice, then do it. I'd much rather that than a Vino situation rushing a guy like Hayes back and risking further injury, especially to something as delicate as a back injury.
I think Coots and Ellis can find a VRBO and check up with Mike Rathje. Do you guys remember that name, Mike Rathje?
Mike Rathje.
He was a big defenseman who never played a single game for us. So I don't know.
I remember him in NHL 06. I played him.
Oh yeah, I played Sam Moore in an NHL like 20,
At wing?
18.
I played him everywhere. I played him everywhere. Anytime the Flyers switched positions, I was like, "There you go, buddy." Put him in goal one game. Didn't do good. But that again, I'd just be reiterating a point here. I am definitely encouraged by the fact that they are holding Couturier back right now because, again, it's a long contract. It's an expensive contract. And if we've got 7 more years after this year, I'd rather have 7 even just decent years of Couturier than 7 more. Are we going to worry about this guy ever being able to hit the ice again with a persistent back injury that, we can't seem to find a remedy for, a la Ryan Ellis with his whatever that is that was injured.
All right, I got one for you guys as we're coming up on opening night. Off the cuff, we didn't prep for this. What's your prediction for the Flyers record for this year? Not points, like I want like a record.
Oh man.
Let's see here. I'm just doing some math real quick. That's 60, 75. So that's 7. 25, 48, and 9.
I wrote down 24, 48, and 10. So we're right there. Yep.
I think that's fair.
We got another shootout loss in our hat.
Yeah.
I'm right there with the 25.
Yep. 39.
I can't do the
59.
rest of the math.
59 points, 25 wins. Oh my God. This is what it's come to.
Yeah.
Shit. Oh boys. This is
real quick.
not
Can we
good.
talk on power play?
Go.
That's right. You did want to talk about the power play.
Because the lines that were tweeted up yesterday or the day before by Charlie O'Connor just make me cringe even more. Power play 1, Farabee, Konechny, Hayes, JVR, D'Angelo.
Okay, that's no surprise.
It's your quote unquote top guys on this team supposed to be on the power play. Power play 2, Tippett, Frost, Noah Cates, Lawton, and Provorov.
Get Provorov off the goddamn power play.
And I think they left him on at one point and took Cates out and put Sanheim in.
I'm fine with that. But, I'd be fine with Sanheim taking Provorov's spot.
Yeah, I agree. But
I just don't. And I think Provorov is a good defenseman. But some good defensemen just don't belong on the power play. And that's fine. That is absolutely fine. Again, the square peg round hole. You can't make it fit. Like, we can't keep clinging to the year where it's like, oh, Provorov led all defensemen with power play goals. Like, I don't give a shit about that,
by the way. I was about to say it.
But it stands true. Like, I don't care. Like, Shane Gostisbehere did one time too, maybe. Probably not, but it doesn't matter. Like, Wayne Gretzky scored 100 goals 30 years ago. Like that, it's in the past. I don't care about it anymore. If he can't do it again, then why are we trying to duplicate that lightning in a bottle? Because that's what I think it was. He also had a better supporting cast.
Right. I don't mind him on there. He hasn't shown anything to me that shows that he can quarterback a power play. Now, I can also say the same for Sanheim. I don't think I haven't seen anything from Sanheim that he can, quarterback a power play.
We've seen only do it on BP too.
What's that?
He can only do it on the second power play line.
Sure.
He can't do it on
I'm
the
even
first.
saying that. Like,
yeah.
I'm not convinced of either of them. And like, what's the alternative? It's like, if you don't do Provorov, then you have to do Sanheim or my boy Risto.
Ristolainen.
So like,
put him out there.
You only have so many options here without York back there, which is like, I assume we'll see at some point, but like, that's neither here nor now.
There. I mean, I was excited because I was thinking York would have that spot. Obviously not now, but
so did he.
Yeah, right. I mean, I'll say this: I don't want Lawton on the power play. I don't like that.
I sense a rift between you and your love for Lawton.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But what other options?
He's not a power play guy.
I would rather see Lawton. I would rather see Lawton on the penalty kill if I'm.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's his style.
And I think I'm sure he will be, but yeah, like right now we don't have. I mean, I guess you can put Allison on there, and he has a good shot, but like,
hold on a second.
That would make sense.
Other one missing?
Okay, never mind. I'm thinking of what the opening or what the roster is, and when you had mentioned the lines, you didn't put Atkinson in there, and in my mind, I'm thinking, why the hell is he not on there? But it's because he's injured. Never mind.
He's injured. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that'll take somebody's spot on the first power play there. Hopefully, maybe. Let's see. It's going to be either Farabee or TK because you're going to want J. Oh yeah, on the first unit, you're going to want JVR.
I don't think Hayes will stay on the first.
Well, you need
I kind of agree with
center, but you need a center on that line. Are you going to put Farabee at center like you did last year?
You might as well, but Hayes isn't the power play guy.
He's not, but he's the best option that we have at center at this point. Unless you want to bump Frost up to the first pair or the first power play unit.
Why the hell not?
I'm not opposed, but then you're looking at if Hayes is on the second, if you replace him with somebody, like who are you replacing him with? And when Atkinson's back, great. Okay. You could put Cates at center if need be, or Lawton if he's still on there, but I don't know. I mean,
I said this earlier in the high and wide group chat. I can't wait for Bobby Brink to come back because he'll get slotted into that second power play.
Dude, I don't know. I wasn't impressed one bit with Bobby Brink last year. Like
small sample size.
This is first taste of NHL action.
He didn't do anything for me. Come on.
This team hasn't done anything for me.
Right.
So what the hell's the harm?
Not in a decade, no. But they used to get me revved up.
They used to. Oh yeah. Used to get me going.
It's a nice little chub every once in a while.
No, I think we covered a good bit here today. I think that obviously, regardless of the outcome, we all are looking forward to regular season hockey here. It'll be nice to be able to sit down and watch the games for the first couple minutes at least, and suffer through the rest of it. But that's it in terms of the substance of the episode. And when we get down to the fodder here, we're going to talk about a dad joke with Hoagie.
It's back, boys.
I thought you were going to say it's bad. I was like, got a point.
What do you get if you put a duck in a cement mixer?
Crickets. I don't know.
Quacks in the pavement.
Okay.
All right.
Not great, but
No.
I get it.
That's good. I like
John
it.
would still be thinking about it right now. He'd be
Probably.
like,
But ducks don't go in cement.
I don't get it.
He's probably the only watcher right now. Like,
Shut up,
God damn it, Hoagie.
No, he's not even watching. He tunes off.
He's asleep right now. I guarantee.
Oh, absolutely.
Guaranteed he's asleep. He'll listen to this tomorrow and be like, Hoagie, that was a terrible dad joke. You suck.
I'll hear it on the prospects tomorrow.
Oh yeah, we're like, if you tell a dad joke during this show, I swear to God, I'll kill you.
Pretty much.
All right, well, that wraps it up here for us. So, like we always end every episode, Matt Casey.
Pod Street Casey. That's CASEY. Pod Street Casey.
Hoagie.
Pod Street Hogs.
And I'm on Twitter at Pod Street Bob. You can find the missing John COVID at Pod Street Gove. You can find all of us on here on Twitter at Pod Street Bullies. Check out our affiliates as well. The Hockey Focus, you can find them on Twitter. You can find our other affiliates here now with Flyers High and Wide on Twitter at Flyers HW. You can find 5 Minute Major Podcast, David Mastro on Twitter at 5 Minute Major Pod. And I am sort of looking forward to some hockey this week, boys.
Hey, everybody's got a shot right now. Let's wait till week 2.
Yeah, right now. We'll see how it goes, but have a good one, folks.
Bye now.